So, we hear news all the time about American hostages finally coming home after months or years of captivity in Russia or somewhere else. But here's the thing, even though they're back, that doesn't mean the bad times are over. And I'm not even talking about anxiety, depression, PTSD, right? Because literally when they get home, like when they open their mailbox for the first time in what feels like an eternity, and I'm not kidding here, they find a bill from the IRS for back taxes, accumulated interest, and late penalties accrued while they were being held hostage by a foreign government.
It was funny because it was so absurd.
Right, and that is Washington Post reporter Jason Rezaian, who was held by Iran for 544 days, ending in 2016. With him going on to tell News Nation what it was like having to pay over $6,000 in surprise taxes.
You come back from being held hostage, being put through a mock trial, told that you're going to be executed. The U.S. government mobilizes all its resources to free you. Thousands of government worker hours are put into this, millions of dollars in legal bills and everything else. And then you come home and there's a bill for you, a personalized one.
With Rezaian then adding in an article for the Washington Post, while I was locked up, my foreign-born wife's immigration papers that had been approved before we were arrested in 2014 expired. We had to start from scratch with a new application when we got back to San Francisco. My credit rating was also shattered. Many bills that had been set for autopay were declined and sent to collection while I was away. My credit score fell so low that renting or buying a home through traditional avenues was out of the question until I was able to rehabilitate my credit. Right, and while understandably that may not be your top concern when you're in an Iranian prison, those credit cards, auto loans, and mortgages still go delinquent. Not to mention that since you're not earning income, you're also not generating payroll taxes, which reduces the Social Security benefits you'll receive at retirement. And some version of this madness has been experienced by tons of other returning hostages. Folks like Alsu Kermasheva, Paul Whelan, and Evan Gershkovich. Right, but they're the high-profile ones, with many more getting little to no attention. And their numbers, they're only increasing. Right, I mean, nearly 60 hostages came home under Trump, more than 70 have come home under Biden, and anywhere between 40 and 60 are said to still be held unjustly in other countries. But also, before you get mad at the wrong people, you should understand that the IRS, right, they're not the vindictive stooges here. They actually want to help former hostages. But the thing is, while they can waive some fines, they just simply lack the authority to fully forgive interest and penalties without an act of Congress. Which actually brings us to the real reason that we're talking about this today, our rat shit political system. Because Democratic Senator Chris Coons from Delaware just wrote an op-ed for the Wall Street Journal calling on his colleagues to do something about this. And in fact, he teamed up with Republican Mike Rounds in May to pass the Stop Tax Penalties on American Hostages Act, which would do exactly what the name suggests. And so all the House would need to do is pass the same bill and it would go straight to Biden's desk for a signature. But here's the thing, they didn't pass the same bill, they passed a different bill, right? Because the Ways and Means Committee attached an additional measure that would make it easier for the government to strip tax-exempt status from nonprofit groups over allegations of support for terrorism, which critics of that see as an effort to target pro-Palestinian groups or humanitarian orgs working in the Middle East. So there, GOP committee chair Jason T. Smith defended the measure to the Washington Post, pointing to the American hostages still held by Hamas. But notably, as Rezaian also shot back, the IRS already forgives people held hostage by non-state organizations like Hamas, right? Foreign governments' hostages are the ones being addressed. But either way, right, that extra measure means the Senate would have to vote on the bill again. And even if enough senators would support it, which is very unlikely because of the controversial addition, there's almost certainly too little time left in the legislative session. But also, that's just one bill. Coons has been working to pass others as well. Like, for example, the Fair Credit for American Hostages Act, which would prevent credit rating agencies from considering payments missed due to a wrongful detention or hostage situation. Or another example, the Retirement Security for American Hostages Act, which would ensure that hostages and wrongful detainees aren't penalized in the calculation of their Social Security benefits. But for now, we'll have to wait to see if, I don't know, politicians can do literally the easiest fucking thing, which unfortunately has just become incredibly common, whether it be healthcare for 9/11 survivors or tax relief for hostages. It's like they're striking out playing T-ball.